Hey traders, Marcello here, founder of the Day Trading Academy. Today we're talking about how much money do you need to start trading for a living. We're here in our trading center in Medellin, Colombia. We do most of our training online, but obviously this is where we host a lot of our traders. It's a beautiful city. Highly recommend you guys get out here to Colombia. It's not as dangerous as they say it is in the news, right? And Pablo Escobar isn't around anymore either, so don't worry about that. The matter of the amount of money you need to start day trading for a living is a bit subjective because there's a ton of different ways to trade. I'm going to give you guys my opinion based on the 15 years of experience I have in this industry. For you guys, it might be something different, but I've seen a lot of different traders over the years. I've met a lot of traders that trade different markets, different strategies, use different indicators. And one thing that I do want to say up front is that there isn't necessarily one perfect way to trade, okay? So I'm going to share with you guys my opinions. I have been trading futures. I learned how to trade futures and I've stuck with futures because I believe it's where you get the most bang for your buck, so to speak, right? One of the things that I want to cover just right off the bat is I know that many of you guys wonder if you need $25,000 to trade stocks. There's something called the day trading pattern rule, which means that US citizens cannot enter and exit more than, I believe, more than 3 trades, or could be 5 within a 3-day period. So when you're trading stocks, in terms of being able to make money over time, it limits your ability to do that. Not only if you don't have $25,000, but if you have less than $25,000, obviously you're going to have a limit as to how much you can trade. I prefer the futures market because I believe you can make a lot more than less. One example, first, is you don't need $25,000. You can open an account with minimum $1,000. And just to explain to you guys a little bit of the leverage that's used in the stock market, whenever you trade stocks or you trade Forex, there's something called margin, okay? Margin basically means how much money you're going to borrow to be able to make more with less. To give you guys an example, let's say I have $100. I'm going to borrow $10,000 at, let's say, 3% interest to make more money with the money that I have, right? And so the profit from that loan that I took out obviously is profit, but also I could lose it as well. And remember that that's a loan, okay? So you're going to have to pay that back. In the futures market, it's very different because the leverage is built inside of the actual system. And I won't get too technical with you guys to explain to you how it works, but the basic premise is with stocks or Forex, you need to borrow money to have leverage, to make more than $1 per dollar that you personally invested. Whereas with the futures market, you can make anywhere between, if I remember correctly, $10 to $5,000 with the same amount of money. So, it depends on obviously with the market that you make. So in terms of the amount of money you need to really start trading for a living, I would say you want to make sure that you don't do it with the absolute minimum. Because what happens is, let's say, and I'm going to give you an example in the futures market, the minimum amount required to trade in the futures market is $500. So the minimum to open an account is $1,000. So let's say we have $1,000, we open up an account with a broker, and we have $1,000 to start trading with. We always have to maintain that $5,000 in the account, not $5,000, the $500 in the account to continue trading. So because we only have the $500 minimum required and then the $500 to play with because we opened up the account with $1,000, if we lose 1 or 2 trades, that's going to bring us really close to the limit. And one of the things that I think most people don't discuss in this world of day trading is that psychological component. Obviously, most of you guys that want to learn how to day trade, or you're interested, right, in this day trading world, you basically just think about making money. And, granted that obviously you can make a lot of money day trading, but we also have to think of the psychological component, because remember that just like you can make a lot of money day trading, you can lose a lot of money. So there's a certain amount of let's say, a cushion that you have to have in order to make sure that you're gonna have the capacity to lose a little bit of money. So you want to make sure that you can give yourself enough of a cushion where if you lose a bit of money, it doesn't stress you out. Now, one thing I do want to let you guys know, I was very, let's say, risky when I first started to learn how to trade. If you guys know my story, I took out $25,000 in student loans and I lost that in a month, just buying stuff, losing money. I had to take out more loans, right? Very responsible. I want to make sure that you guys realize, don't risk your mortgage money, for example, right? Don't risk money that you can't necessarily lose, because you can lose it in the stock market. So if you're thinking about the minimum amount of money required to start living and doing this, something like the futures market, I would say $2,000 or $3,000 is what you're going to need in order to have the trading account open. That's the first thing, okay? Obviously, if you're trading with something else, the lower limit I could say could be about $500 or so. But remember what I just explained about that pressure that you're going to have by not having enough of a cushion to be able to trade with. So once you have that money for the trading account, you obviously need a trading strategy, and then you need, kind of your office, which is this beautiful computer here that I have. So there's a bunch of different training systems out there and gurus and courses and all that kind of good stuff. One thing I want to be honest with you guys about is that you can learn this on your own. You don't have to spend $10,000 to learn how to do this. But one thing to keep in mind is if you are going to do it on your own, obviously there's going to be an amount of time that you're going to have to take, because obviously, everybody online can be a keyboard warrior, right? Anybody can say anything about anybody. So it's important to know that, it might take you a little bit more time to kind of sift through all of the information and see what's right, what's wrong, how to combine things, how to use them, etc., etc. So that's the first thing. So once you have a strategy, whether you're going to pay for training or use a guru or learn on your own, obviously you have that, which obviously if you learn on your own, what you're giving up is not necessarily money, you're giving up time, right? And then you have your, I would say, comfortably $2,000 or $3,000 to open up an account. Then after that, the only really other things you need is a computer. You don't really need a super fancy computer. I would say you only need a computer that costs about $500 or $600. I think that there's this mentality in the world today where you have to have the most advanced trading system in the world. The computers with 20 screens and the most advanced fiber optic, blah, 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 blah. You don't need any of that. Standard laptop nowadays, I think, would be more than fine. I think depending on how you trade, obviously you can do it from a tablet as well. So I'd say $500, $600 computer is more than enough. And then other than that, you have your internet. And that's pretty much about it. It's not a very complicated business to start. I would say to you guys that day trading is the easiest, it's the hardest way to make easy money, right? Because obviously you can make a lot of money with this, but at the same time, it's something that may not necessarily be very easy to learn or come easy to many of us. But I do believe that anybody can learn how to do this. Once obviously you start making a consistent income with trading, you obviously can live doing this. And that's one of the reasons why I love the futures market. I always tell people that you can probably make an average of about $100 a day, quote unquote, with the system that we teach according to the rules. But obviously one of the asterisks that I always tell people as well is just because the system makes that according to the rules doesn't mean that we're going to do that as well, because obviously we get scared, we make mistakes, we have to have the mentality to correct those mistakes as well, right? And that's very important. A few of the real life examples that I know of traders that have become master traders over the years, I believe one makes about 0.52 points a day, which is roughly about $25, $30 a day per position. Another trader makes about 1.11 points a day. That's 2 years in trading live. That's about $52, $53 a day. And that gives you the average, I would say, on the low end of what you can make. On the high end, I really don't want to speculate here, because obviously you can make a lot of money day trading. But once you really learn how to do this and you're consistent at using the strategy that you have and using the techniques that you developed, you really obviously can make thousands or tens of thousands. It's ridiculous the amount of money you can make. One of the things I do want to let you guys know is that this isn't going to be something that you guys learn as fast as you think it's going to learn. You know, I think in a lot of the videos that I've been doing recently, I've been trying to express that to you, because I think most of the people in this industry just tell us about the millions of dollars we can make, and if you buy their program, we're going to learn next week. This is really a process that we have to go through, right? And for some of us, you know, the fastest I've seen somebody do it is 6 weeks, but the longest I've seen somebody do it is 8 years. So it doesn't matter how long it takes you. Once you actually learn how to do this and you can do it consistently, you're going to be able to make a lot more money that you lost, obviously, at the end of the day. But I do want to kind of, you know, tell you that and be honest with you guys that if this was that easy, everybody would be doing it. So in terms of just that question that you guys ask, or the video that's titled, you know, how much money do you guys need to make a living out of this? I'd say at a minimum $1,000 to open up the account, to be comfortable $2,000 or $3,000 at a minimum. Then obviously you have to consider training, and then obviously a computer. One of the comparisons that one of our traders always makes, and he's a businessman, if you really consider the amount of money that it takes to start a business, you know, if a restaurant, for example, is $50,000, $100,000 every restaurant. To scale, to open up new restaurants, for example, Subway, who franchises, but they don't actually control territory. You know, they open one and another one right next door. It's about $100,000, and that's the cheapest, right? A McDonald's, last time I checked, was $1 million. So it's really the cheapest business that you guys can start, but it's not necessarily guaranteed either, just like a normal business as well. So that's something to consider. Let me know any questions you guys have. Just mark them with hashtag AskMarcello. If you guys have any questions for me or my team, support@thedaytradingacademy.com, and we'll talk to you soon.